Thank God it's Friday. Let's do Friday business on Business Morning. 55 minutes of current and relevant business talks. That's what we usually do here. I'm Ini John McQuay. You're welcome to the program. And we start as usual with what's going on in the global space. Of course, oil is in the news as usual, especially for a country like Nigeria, where our mainstay is crude. So look at the numbers for this morning. We see the color red, is it? But not so bad, 0.3%. For Brent at $66.62 a barrel. We know that this week, this has gone as low as $64. So we're seeing it at $66 at this time. I guess is the optimism around the probably talk between President Putin and President Trump supposed to happen at Alaska later on, I guess this weekend, like the 18th. That's when that talk is slated for. WTI is also in the red, 0.39%. $63.71 a barrel is the price for it. And central banks like the U.S. Federal Reserve use interest rates to control inflation. Lower interest rates reduce consumer borrowing. And all eyes are on that meeting between President Trump and the Russian President Vladimir Putin, where a ceasefire on the war going on in Ukraine is supposed to be top on the agenda. A continuing conflict between Russia and Ukraine supports oil markets by limiting supply of Russian oil. And the African Development Bank Group has committed $40 million to the Alliance for Green Infrastructure in Africa Project Development Fund, anchoring the fund's first close of $118 million that's aimed at fast-tracking climate resilience infrastructure across the continent. That project, managed by Africa 50, seeks to mobilize $400 million in blended early-stage financing to prepare a pipeline of bankable projects in renewable energy, sustainable transport, water systems, and digital infrastructure. The bank's $40 million package includes $20 million in grants, $10 million in commercial equity, and $10 million in junior equity from the Sustainable Energy Fund for Africa. Here in Nigeria, the federal government has approved a phased plan to refinance 4 trillion naira in electricity sector debt to help stabilize the nation's ailing power industry and improve supply. This was made known by the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edun, speaking at a cabinet meeting in Abuja. Mr. Edun said that the refinancing would be executed within 3 to 4 weeks under the oversight of the Debt Management Office. He hints that the plan is likely involving bond issuances and other instruments to spread out the repayment liability over time. Meanwhile, the Director General of World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, has commended President Bola Tinubu for stabilizing the economy through a set of bold reforms carried out by his administration. This was during a courtesy visit to the presidential villa, and the WTO DG said that President Tinubu has to be given credits for the stability of the economy. She explains that what is needed next in the country is to grow the economy and also put in social safety nets that will insulate people who are feeling the pinch of the reforms and have some support to be able to weather the hardship. WTO DG also mentioned that the reforms have been in the right direction, while growth is essential to create more jobs for Nigerians. We know that the Federal Inland Revenue Service has unveiled 16 technology companies certified to assist taxpayers in onboarding to its electronic invoicing platform ahead of the revised deadline set for November the 1st. The unveiling took place at the start of a 2-day workshop at the E-Invoicing solution in Lagos. According to the FIRS, the move is part of ongoing efforts to expand the adoption of the platform, which went on live August 1st and is central to enhancing tax compliance and real-time invoice verification.
Based on that, since go live, we have actually recorded over 1,000 taxpayers that have successfully onboarded on the platform, representing about 20% of our target group. We have also the first 5 invoice transmissions from Pioneer First, live invoice transmission from pioneering organizations such as MTN Nigeria, Huawei, and IHS Nigeria. The certification of 16 service providers to act as both system integrators and access point providers in the ecosystem. What then is the purpose of this workshop? It is designed to provide practical guidance on taxpayer enablement, integration processes, and real-time invoice transmission. It is also intended to officially introduce some of the certified service providers who will play critical roles in supporting the adoption process.
All right, yeah, let's follow that play out you just heard there about sustainable leadership amidst building businesses and the reforms which WTO DG has applauded Nigeria's president for. But, you know, the businesses have to carry on the results of those reforms, the gains of those reforms for it to get to the micro level. But how do you do that? They call it leadership capital approach. That's what Mr. Linus Okorie, who's the Chief Executive Officer of Gotney, wants to join us to discuss. Mr. Okorie, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning.
I guess we should begin by understanding, we talk about sustainability these days, and a lot of times when the word sustainability comes on, people just think of climate change and renewable energy, but I guess that also concerns leadership and sustainability of businesses. Could you help us understand it from that perspective?
Okay, so first of all, we have to basically understand the subject matter leadership. What is leadership and how does leadership impact on businesses, whether businesses will live or die? Many years ago, I had the honor of hosting a gentleman called Dr. Miles Monroe, and he defined leadership as the ability to inspire, motivate, drive a group of people towards a particular direction via inspiration, not intimidation or manipulation. At the center of the leadership conversation is the ability to inspire a group of people to achieve certain results. Nobody can achieve any result by just acting alone. Each person requires the contribution of other people in driving growth. So it is the same way when we assemble human beings and we are running a business. And so that business can only work if, first of all, we're able to assemble the right kinds of people who have the right type of skills, and then the ability to carry these individuals, inspire these individuals will willingly follow the leader, and they will put their hearts and minds at work and achieve great results. Now, if the leadership capital of those who run the business is very high, then it means that that business is going to be sustainable. That business will solve the problems of today as well as solve the future problems of that business, which means that business is going to make profit, that business is going to be sustainable, that business will have succession planning in place, you know, because the leadership capital is very high. If I want to break that leadership capital, I want to see the leadership competencies that are available within the business. So you're talking about what is the quality of the vision that is available in the business? What is the quality of teamwork and team dynamics that is available in the business? What is the quality of quality thinking that is available, the strategic thinking that is available in the business? What is the quality of innovation available in the business? What is the quality of emotional intelligence, executive intelligence that is available within that business environment? So what you're talking about is that you want a situation whereby everyone who makes decisions for businesses or organizations, even those who make decisions for regulatory institutions that guide the business, or those who even create policy for getting the business environment to work, it requires high-level leadership capital for those who drive those businesses. And anytime that there's a deficit of leadership capital for within those business organizations, what you have to experience will be businesses that will stop making profits, businesses that will die. And a lot of businesses are dead today, not because of lack of money, but because of huge deficits of leadership capital. And that has great consequences. And that is why it's always important that one of the major requirements of sustainability of business is for the CEO who is running that business, he must, as a matter of necessity, create a leadership development system within that business entity that will continue to drive and strengthen the leadership capital of those who are within the business.
Interesting. And I guess this applies to all levels of businesses, whether you're a small business or a large business. But I guess the value or the capacity of the business to be able to handle these different levels is what makes a difference.
Absolutely. So whether, in fact, even if you are starting a business today, the guarantee that your business is going to be sustainable is the quality of vision that you have within the business. So you're thinking long term. You're not thinking short term. So you're able to delay gratification. When a business leader makes profit and he is not wasting the profit in immediate gratification, he's thinking about the future of the business. So what does he do? He begins to save, or he begins to create what he requires to make sure that business works, and he would have the courage to take certain decisions, and then he would have the ability to work with different kinds of people. Sometimes you would come into the marketplace, you meet people who do not even have sense, but you have to work with them. You meet people who are wicked people, you have to work with them. You meet people who do not understand what you're talking about, but you have to work with them. So the ability to be patient, the ability to have the temperament to actually allow yourself to go through certain kinds of realities and overcome them. Even when businesses are tough, environment is tough, you require certain elements of leadership capital to be able to go through these tough times and make a difference with it. So what we are saying is that for any business, for any institution, for any organization to last, to be sustainable, those human beings who work within those entities, who make decisions for those entities, must take it as a priority to strengthen and develop their leadership competencies. Those competencies are critical. In fact, even if it's emotional intelligence, do you know how many businesses that are dead because the owner of the business do not know how to manage talent, do not know how to work with people with different temperament, cannot even manage the opposition that comes from maybe people stopping him from getting a wrong idea implemented, as the case may be. So it requires a whole lot of executive intelligence, how to be able to identify people of different talents and pulling them together to strengthen the business, to strengthen the work. And that's why the founder of of Hilton Hotels, Conrad Hilton, he simply said something very powerful. He said he can pay the amount of money to anyone who has the ability to work with all manner of people, to work with difficult people, to work with all kinds of people. It's a strength. Or even most of the things that we require is outside the business. The business environment itself is costs. Everything happening inside the business is cost. Most of the time, the ideas that are running within the business are old ideas, and they are still there within the business. So if you do not have human beings within the business who have the capacity to network their way outside the business to find resources, mobilize resources that is needed for the business to grow, in the process of doing that, they must have certain skills of sustaining relationships, over a period of time. And most of the time, what is important in business is the quality of relationship that you have built over time. That when people like you, they know you, then they can do business with you. And then if you now generate value that is sustainable over a period of time, and then people want to do business with you further. And then if you're able to create a system whereby you can be trusted, your product can be trusted, your services can be trusted, then people can do what? Do business with you, which means that integrity also is an element in business system. And all of these are not guaranteed until leaders understand that leadership capital is critical for sustainability of any kind of business or even the socio-political environment.
Mr. Korea, this kind of brings up the question again. It's a long-standing question. If leaders are born or made, because you say, someone who is happy with an individual who can deal with all kinds of people. So does the leader have to learn this, or is the leader born with a skill and only develops it as he goes up the ladder?
The truth of the matter is that everybody is born with one gift or talent, but it's a responsibility as the leader begins to grow, as the individual begins to grow and then pass through the educational systems. The educational systems, most of the time, will help in shaping the leader's understanding about his or her talents, as the case may be. But the educational systems in Nigeria, unfortunately, most of those institutions do not have the mechanism or the systems or to start early to groom leadership capital amongst those who are passing through them. So most of the time, they are focused in just the educational part in the context of the cramming, the studying, and all of that, of the specifics. But by the time individuals go into the real world, you discover that most of those in the real world might not have those leadership competencies required. So what they now do is to begin to create opportunities where they spend time with books and materials of the body of knowledge that they want to strengthen. Take for instance, if they on how to enhance those skills, or those skills can be enhanced in training, in seminars, in workshops, or in conferences, as the case may be. But it will be the responsibility of the individual to stretch himself to actually find those knowledge, because leadership flows to the one who knows. When you know it in a particular subject matter, you lead. That's basically what we're talking about. So every business, every organization must have budget. Budget for what? For training and developing different types of skills that will enable individuals to thrive and make institutions work, as the case may be. So everybody is born with the leadership skills, but personal development is critical for those leadership skills to see the light of the day. And for the past 31 years of my life, one of the things that I was only 19 years old when I started my leadership development journey. I have seen people who come to me with great talent. I've seen them go through the process of delaying gratification and training themselves, investing resources in themselves, and I've seen them transform to be better leaders, and better leaders in managing conflict, better leaders in inspiring those they work with, better leaders in creating mindsets within the organization that talked about possibilities and sound belief system that can take the business to the next level. Even if the business is failing, everybody in the business believes that the business would work one day. And what do? They create an environment, they can do it spirit within an environment that can stretch that business to grow. So it gives them enough time to be able to incubate the ideas, and for the ideas to grow, to become a value that grows again to become a business in itself, or become a product in itself, or even a service, as the case may be. So that is why training and development becomes part of the pursuit of grooming those that can take charge of businesses and transform it. Nations of the world that have made great progress, there are nations where by citizens that have been given the opportunity to understand leadership development quite early, and when they grow with that, then they become great in what they do. So a lawyer can become a great leader lawyer. A doctor can become a great doctor, a great leader doctor. A business analyst can become a great
Mr. Corey, I guess all these doctors and lawyers, they're going to meet at your conference, and I guess that's why you're dealing with the mind. I think minds, inspiring results. I guess that's what you want to deal with at your leadership conference.
Yes, absolutely, and that's why on the 5th and 6th of September, 2025 at Transcorp Hilton in the city of Abuja. There will be a gathering of leaders of organizations, top leaders, business owners, those who own businesses across all sectors of the economy, and also those who are in the political space as well. This is a gathering of those who are hungry to leave a legacy, those who are hungry to make a difference, those who are hungry to take their businesses to another level of growth and productivity, and they want to strengthen the leadership capital of those who work within their organizations. They want to take control of the future and destinies of the organization. So what we are saying is that we're inviting you to register and be part of this conference, because this conference will give you the type of resources that you need to be able to think right, have strategic thinking competencies, and some of the best names in the world from Conrad Hilton, School of Thought. We have somebody like Korea Block, one of the biggest names in executive leadership, is coming to Nigeria. You have Gautam and Golani from India. They are all coming in here. It's a Professor Lumumba interrogating the role of leadership in shaping organizations. And some of our best minds, over 30 thought leaders, are gathering in a room to share and inspire 2 days of learning, 2 days of transformation, 2 days that will reshape mindset and prepare leaders that are ready to lead in the 21st century and lead globally. So anyone who is interested to be part of this conference, all you need to know is that absolutely this conference is already priced at top level. Leaders are basically going to VVVIP 1 million, and then those who are going to attend the conference as VIP guests, 500,000 per person, and you can nominate members of your team, leaders of your team, and as individuals as well. You can say, you know what, I want to build a sustainable business, and I want to be part of the conference. So you look at the numbers on the screen, and you just send us a message. Do not call us. Send us a text message or a WhatsApp message, and you say, my name is this. I want to be part of this conference. I'm coming with 10 members of my team, 5 members of my team. I want a VVIP ticket. I want a VIP ticket, but the whole idea is that at Transcorp Hilton Hotel, 5th and 6th of September, is going to be a gathering that you will network your way to greatness, because there are a lot of people coming from around the world who are going to be in that room. And one of the things I have learned about leadership is the fact that the more you learn, the more you grow. If you have a learning organization, then your organization will thrive. A lot of leaders today are struggling because they do not know. And Aristotle, Socrates, these guys in their days were custodians of knowledge. You know what these guys did? These guys went all over town saying, I know nothing, I know nothing. Any CEO that says, I know it all, that CEO cannot build sustainable organizations. You must show example, sit in the room and pretend like you know nothing, and tap every knowledge that you can. If you do that, and you also bring in members of your team to be in the room, what is going to happen is that there will be an introduction of certain subject matter that will help push you to the next level. In difficult times, you need people who have mindsets that are transformational, mindsets that are working. In fact, it is called mind leadership.
All right, Mr. Korea, that's a very good place to pause for now. I know you have all of this packed, for the conference, and I'm sure a lot of viewers will be interested. So thank you so much for whetting our appetite, concerning your conference that's coming on. Mr. Linus Okorie, Chief Executive Officer of Godme, we wish you the very best.
Thank you very much.
Let's look at Nigeria's status at this time. So we'll start by telling you that Nigeria has 32 airports, but only 20 have been considered viable as of 2024. A large majority of air traffic, about 92 to 96%, flows through just 4 of these 32 that we have. Of course, Lagos is on the top of that, Abuja, Port Harcourt, Kano, they are also now. Why do we have this small amount of a majority are not doing so well, not producing as much as it should, or the aviation sector, which includes airlines, airports, and related businesses, contributes an estimated $2.5 billion to Nigeria's GDP. This is direct and indirect contribution. When it comes to employment, direct employment about 39,500, a total of 216,000 supported by aviation-related activities. Of course, we know some of those snacks they sell on board shops and all of that. In 2024, domestic passenger traffic was approximately 11.5 million. This has shown a decline in the last couple of years. And one of the major concerns for stakeholders, they've told me, is the maintenance, aviation maintenance. It's been named as a major deterring factor that's mitigating the effective use of resources. And that experts say that one airline alone reportedly spent 78 billion naira for maintenance overseas. A C check, a comprehensive maintenance procedure, can cost between 396 million naira and 785, depending on the exchange rate at that time. Let's delve into this part of business and see perhaps how we can boost revenue from and contribution to the GDP from that sector. We have right here in the studio Dr. Elizabeth Jack-Rich, who's the Chief Executive Officer of E-Invoicing Group Limited. Dr. Jack-Rich, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning.
And right close to her, we have Engineer Oluwole Adeyileka. He's a former Director General of the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority. Currently, he's the Executive Director at E-Invoicing Group. Also, you're welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Yeah, so I mean, for people like us, we just see the plane, we complain of the timing, but we didn't know this amount of money goes into maintenance of one aircraft, and unfortunately it has to be done abroad. Have there been conversations of having these things, this maintenance done domestically? Let me start with you ladies first.
I mean, they have been, to the best of my knowledge, but I think it's not enough. So, and we as E-Invoicing here, we're trying to contribute our own quota by, demonstrating the ability Nigeria possesses to do their maintenance in the country. And that is why the current achievement that we just had, which is the 7,800 landing check, feat completed by E-Invoicing here, not just in Nigeria, but the first in Africa. And we're proud that it's done on Nigerian soil by our in-house engineering team, obviously with the oversight and close supervision of the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority. And completing this check is not just a technical achievement. It is a statement of endless possibility in the aviation industry of Nigeria. And it demonstrates that Nigeria possesses the talent, the capacity, the infrastructure, the technical know-how, and discipline to deliver complex aviation projects to the highest international standards. And for us as E-Invoicing here, it also reinforces our, brand promise, which is operational excellence rooted in African capability.
All right, let me come to Dr. Adeyileka. I want to challenge you. You were formerly in the public sector. Why didn't you make this happen? Why are we just hearing of E-Invoicing, taking the glory now? We have so many airlines. Why has it taken so long? Or why are aircraft maintenance still, largely done abroad, sapping off our FX resources, which is really, really scarce? You used to be there. Why didn't you do something about it?
Yes, it's a very complex situation. Why am I saying complex? The government cannot come out and say, right, all airlines must do their maintenance check locally. What comes first is safety.
Yeah.
We need to look at individual cases. Well, talking about my time, we had AMO, Aircraft Maintenance Organization, licensed during that time. Aero contractor had the capacity, but they could have done better with the help of the government. They could have done even more better with the help of the operators. The owner of the aircraft decides where he wants to maintain the aircraft. It's a free world. The most important thing is it's highly regulatory. You must follow the regulation, you must follow the maintenance program. Take, for instance, Ellen Group as a whole took a decision.
We have to be easy on the name.
Yeah.
There are other aircraft. We are discussing a national issue here. Yeah. So let's make it national, please.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Making it national. I can use another. The airline operator decide where they want to take their aircraft.
But if there's enough confidence built on the Nigerian system or Nigerian value chain in that area, I'm sure a lot of people would prefer to do it locally because it costs less, isn't it? You need less dollars, for instance, employing the expertise, the raw material, isn't it, please?
Can I make a correction?
Yeah.
I know what Dr. Elizabeth wants to say.
All right.
In aviation is different. We don't manufacture parts in Nigeria. Even the Jet A1 that we produce in Nigeria is dollar, the naira goes up and down with the exchange rate. So every part that we use on the aircraft are imported. That needs to be,
So we know that, is it not possible, okay, Ajakuta Steel is not even working, so we can't even think of even the little parts, yes? We have a long way before we can start.
It goes way beyond.
Yes, sorry to cut in. We are not the aircraft manufacturers.
Yes,
so we can't just manufacture their parts. We have to be licensed. Yesterday I was having a conversation with an aviation alumni, and we were discussing about the state of things in the industry. And he mentioned something. He said Nigeria aviation, either private or commercial, contributes less than 1% to our GDP. That's really bad. It's really poor. I say to people, when you think about the contributors of our GDP, we should be looking at oil and gas, mining, agriculture, and aviation. Aviation is the foundation of these businesses I've mentioned. Without aviation, they cannot successfully do their operations. Do you understand? And we don't have a hub, a one-stop shop where we can have training institutes for our engineers, training institutes for our crew, maybe few, but we don't even have, will I say, a spare part hub, whereby even if we're not manufacturing, we can actually be licensed to carry this, spare parts. One of the things that eats into people's revenue, apart from the fact that there is this thing, quote unquote, about anything done in Nigeria is not professionally done. So like you said, the airline operators have to have a different mindset. And that's why we're trying to be the footprint of that. We also need to invest heavily in aviation infrastructure. Being a one-stop shop, so probably the government, my prayer is that the government will collaborate with the stakeholders in the aviation industry to ask us, what do we need? Not just having few people talk to us or talk for us, but we telling them what we need. And what we need is collaboration. We can contribute way more than what we're doing right now to the GDP. Look at Ethiopia, for instance. If you look at Nigeria, we're in the center of all these neighboring countries. And one of the reasons why we're not the hub for connecting flights within these African countries is because we don't have the right infrastructure to actually, will I say, support those flights. So people would rather fly to Ethiopia or go to South Africa, but we are more than capable. We have the talents. We just need to build on the talents by providing the right infrastructure, the right training. One thing that eats deep into our revenue, I will go back to that, because for me, I'm from the business side, so I'm bringing in the money, and I see is the downtime. When people go for C-checks out of the country, the list is 6 months. So if you get financing maybe from the bank for 5 years to finance an aircraft, you will be looking at going to C-check, I think twice in that 5 years, sir, and that's 1 year loss of revenue. And that's why you see a lot of planes being packed down due to lack of maintenance because they don't have the funding. Naira instability to the dollar. So even if we're doing the maintenance in-house, it does not dramatically reduce the money you spend on your maintenance, but what it does for you is it does not hinder too long your operations because you can reduce downtime. You have your parts, you have the technical know-how, they're in-house. With the oversight of NCAA, you can progress further than depending on foreign facilities. And what we have done is also a proof of concept that we can reduce our dependency on foreign facilities, keep our revenue within the country, and also inspire this and the next generation of aviation professionals.
I know the sad thing you talked about Ethiopia is, I mean, AFDB, Ethiopia, they are the biggest airport on the continent is being built, and Nigeria is supposed to be the big
We
brother.
are. We are. We are
really?
supposed to be.
Exactly.
No, that's what I mean. We
Exactly.
are supposed to be. I mean, we don't have any excuse why we shouldn't be.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw that story, I think a piece of my heart just broke because, I mean, if Ethiopia has the biggest facility on the continent, that means you can imagine the traffic there. Yeah. And you just talked about the contribution to the GDP, which I mean, I even wrote out some of those numbers, not looking good at all. So when do we catch up? I mean, let me ask Dr. Ayuleka, when do we catch up? How do we catch up? Are we too far away, you know, from Ethiopia, for instance? Where is Nigeria compared to Ethiopia? Why are they ahead of us?
It's a two-part thing. We need the stakeholders, like Dr. Elizabeth said, and we need the government. We need the encouragement of the government. We need their encouragement. And take for instance.
Aviation Minister is very active.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, is he not doing enough?
I think he's doing a really good job.
Yeah, he's doing a good job, but he cannot do it alone.
Yes.
It's a partnership
So it's
thing.
the private sector and him, yeah?
Okay, yes. Let me start from somewhere. We are going big on MRO. We've approached FAN. We've done presentation. We want to do a one-shop stop. We have issues. FAN has to issue us with the land. They have to. You know, we've done our own finances. Okay, this is what we want to do. And we have been, everything we do technically is apprenticeship. You have to learn it. Even the job you're doing now, it's apprenticeship. You did not just come from the university and bam, be an anchor. So we have been, we've perfected the business of maintenance. Sorry, the business of aviation, because we do more than maintenance. You know, commercial operation, private jet operation, we've perfected it. So what we want to do now, we want to expand. We have approached FAN. They need to give us land at affordable prices. You know, that's another thing. What we can afford, we need to have a tax incentive. You know, it goes, the government input. That's why I said it's up to both parts. What we want to import, the equipment that we want to import, we must have duty-free. There must be an input from customs, or they're all federal government anyway, but I'm talking about the agencies of government. So once we have that done, that'll be the beginning. It doesn't just end about Nigerians patronizing each other. We want even Ethiopia to come to Nigeria. We want people even from Europe, when they look at their books and say, let's come to Nigeria, it's cheaper for us to fly the aircraft to Nigeria. And that will be the start. We don't have that yet. But we're working, but we need to demonstrate within the country that we have the capacity. Capacity goes beyond having toolings and everything. Manpower capacity, equipment capacity, planning capacity, and there's a lot to be inputted on it. And the apprenticeship is also very important. Training the local engineers. Going to the university or going to aviation college, obtaining a license is not good enough. We also need to encourage our locals
to also come into that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I mean, this maintenance issue and what it could do to us, and I really appreciate your passion. One would have thought that she's just CEO, she doesn't really have the passion. That's what I appreciate.
She's an engineer doctor.
There you go. All right, thank you so much, Dr. Elizabeth Jackridge, for your time, Chief Executive Officer of Ellen Group Limited, and of course, Dr. Engineer Dr. Oluwole Ayuleka, former Director General, Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, and Executive Director at Ellen Group. Thank you so much for your time. I wish you the very best. So the global space here on business, starting from the United States, where producer prices increased by the most in 3 years in July, amid a surge in the cost of goods and services, suggesting a broad pickup in inflation was imminent, posing a dilemma for the Foreign Reserve. We know the battle between President Trump and the chair of the Foreign Reserve. Well, the stronger than expected producer inflation reports from the labor market follows data this week showing consumers paid higher prices for services like dental care, airline fares last month. And there are also no signs of further labor market deterioration in early August. Economists had hoped that moderate services price gains would blunt the inflationary impact of higher goods prices from President Donald Trump's sweeping import tariffs. The U.S. Central Bank puts more emphasis on services inflation, given the economy is services-driven, though financial market continue to anticipate the Fed would resume rate cuts in September. But with these numbers, I wonder what that means. Well, a 1.1% jump in the cost of services accounted for more than 3/4 of the broad-based increase in the PPI, the largest gain in service prices since March 2022, followed by a dip in June. More 0.1% than half of the increase was driven by a 2% advance in trade margins, including for machinery and equipment wholesaling. Portfolio management fees also soared 5.8%. That reflects a stock market rally. Hotel and motel room services rebounded 3.1%. Airline fares went up 1%. Cost of transporting freight by road increased 1%. Goods prices vaulted, climbing about 0.7%. It does look like the next time we hear of inflation numbers from the U.S. might not be so good for both President Trump and for Fed Chair Jerome Powell. Let's head to China now, where China's industrial production in July fell short of expectations as overseas demand waned following earlier front-loading due to U.S. tariffs. This is according to official data released today, Friday. The country's retail sales figures also came in below expectations in July amid weakness in the consumer spending as government initiative failed to boost local consumption. Industrial production grew 5.7% year-on-year in July. According to government data, the reading was below expectation of about 6% and fell from the 6.8% rise that was seen in the prior month. The data points to fading effects of inventory pre-stocking before tariffs and signs of broader cooling in global demand. The slowdown is consistent with other indicators suggesting weakening industrial activity. Previously released July's official manufacturing PMI recorded its 4th straight month in contraction territory as export orders and domestic demand both continue to falter. However, the bigger issue in China for this week is Evergrande. So this week we saw the collapse of the property giant, once China's biggest. It continued in real estate. It's to be delisted in Hong Kong this month. That, of course, highlights the deepening turmoil in the debt-laden sector. Let's find out some lessons we can learn from this with Amanda Wolverton, Global Investment Executive. Hi, Amanda. Welcome back to the show. Good to have you. Good morning. But these are not good times at all. The story Evergrande is at the heart of the real estate industry in China.
Can you repeat the question?
So I was asking, now with the status of Evergrande, creditors, debtors, all looking for how to recover part of their assets at least. What can we say is the root cause of it? What lessons can we learn?
Absolutely. A lot of going on with Evergrande this week. They're supposed to be delisted from the Hong Kong Stock Exchange this week as well, and then they got the notice. So Evergrande collapsed. Actually, it was years in the making. They collapsed because an unsustainable debt-heavy growth model collided with the regulatory leverage limit issued by the government in 2021, as well as that they were unable, due to that, unable to actually continue to raise financially raise money to sustain their value chain and their value model. So Evergrande actually is the first one of the domino effects. After Evergrande had financial issues and defaulted on its US dollar-dominated bond, and then there was a slew of other big Chinese real estate companies also collapsed as a part of the domino effects.
So what lessons can we learn? Is it the connection to the dollar? Like you said, it's connected to the dollar-dominated bond. Or what do you think is at the root cause of this so that we can know what lessons even other sectors and even other countries can learn from this big four?
I think the lessons, this is not a issue with, I think the connection with the dollar-denominated bond is a minor one. I think the majority of the issue resides in how China strategically want to pivot its economy from a real estate and housing market focused to a technology and innovation focused. The real estate bubble and housing market has been in the making for decades. There was a lot of investors were wondering why the bubbles continue to become bigger and bigger. This time, the Chinese government decided not to bail out the big real estate market, big real estate company, but they want to make sure this is a controlled implosion, meaning that they want to pivot their investment and economy from 25% to 30% focus on real estate and properties to a more technology, innovation, green industry focused economy.
So I guess it's just coincidence it's happening at this time when, you know, the issue of the tariff with the U.S. is also colliding. But thank you so much for your time, Amanda Wolverton, Global Investments Executive. Thank you for always shedding light on some of these issues for us.
Thank you for having me.
And close to China, Japan's economy grew much faster than expected in the second quarter as export volumes held up well against new U.S. tariffs, giving the central bank some of the conditions it needs to resume interest rate hikes this year. Gross domestic product rose on an annualized 1% basis. Government data shows this, marking the fifth straight quarter of expansion after the previous quarter's contraction was revised to growth. However, analysts warn global economic uncertainty fueled by U.S. tariffs could weigh on that economy. And in India, the Prime Minister is saying that in his Independence Day address that India's first domestically manufactured semiconductor chip will reach the market by year-end, underscoring the government's push for technological self-reliance amid global tariffs. And he also reiterates the country's need to become self-reliant in energy and critical minerals to support strategic industries. Among the investors are global giants such as U.S. chipmaker Intel and Lockheed Martin. No controversy still surrounding NVIDIA, and so India is looking for its own way out of all of that. And we land in Switzerland, where the economy also unexpectedly grew in the second quarter, maintaining some momentum before the country was hit by one of the highest U.S. tariffs. The expansion of 0.1% was better than the contraction of 0.1% that was forecast by economists. 0.8% pace in the previous 3 months, a growth spurt driven by exporters front-loading sales to the U.S. before trade levies kicked in. All right, so that's it on the program today. Yesterday, Nigeria's stock market closed in the red. The second time this week. We'll see if there will be a bit of recovery this week. There you have it right there. It was down 0.39%, 146. So insurance stocks we know have been driving the market to the green side. But yesterday, another group of investors decided to take some profits, and so we see a huge drop right there. We'll see there'll be a recovery today, intraday. That will come at Business Incorporated, 1:30 p.m. I'll be back here to join me then, and enjoy the rest of your day.